We discussed the official British capture report on Lieutenant von Stapenhorst's triplane 144-17 with the British capture number given G125. There I pointed out how superficially the triplane was treated in its construction. With this report and their assessment of the aircraft, the British missed the opportunity to recognize the potential that ultimately led to the design of the Fokker D7, which became a hassle for them. Some of you may be familiar with the magazine Flight. Before the war began, there were a number of new technical magazines in all fields, including young aviation. Flight was one of these magazines. In Germany there was something very similar called Flugsport. Both magazines dealt in depth with technical developments in aircraft construction. Stapenhorst's aircraft was displayed as spoils of war in the agricultural hall in Islington, where it could be studied by the public. Experts from Flight magazine were also there to examine the triplane. The official reports on the captured aircraft on display there were available for public viewing, and Flight was not really satisfied with the War Office's very superficial examination and assessment of the aircraft. In its May 1918 issue, Flight therefore published its own review of the aircraft, which was discussed in great detail. The magazine's illustrator was even commissioned to capture many of the aircraft's technical solutions in beautiful sketches, thus giving readers an insight into this aircraft. For those interested in technology, like me, this is of course a treasure trove of information, which I would like to show you today in this short video. Over the past few decades, this was one of the first sources that revealed internal details about the triplane to me. Much of what was published here was later verified in my research on the triplane, using factory drawings and photographs. Flight was therefore very accurate in its recording and depiction of the aircraft. The magazine itself was published before the war and, like many others, closely followed the development of the fledgling aviation industry. Similar magazines appeared throughout Europe, and many of them collaborated before the war. Flight also enjoyed cooperating with its German counterpart, the magazine Flugsport, founded by Oskar Osinus in late 1908. Both magazines alternately published interesting articles from the other side in exchange, and this remained the case throughout the war. Flugsport itself was not allowed to publish anything about the triplane, as it was classified as a military secret. However, Flugsport was permitted to reprint the article that had already been published in England in the magazine Flight, and that is exactly what Flugsport did with the article about the Fokker triplane. In this way, both magazines published translations of each other's reports on enemy aircraft. These texts and sketches are extremely interesting for anyone interested in aircraft technology. They have preserved many aircraft types and technical details for us to see today.